the holy grail of impact data reporting is real-time verified data. And in the market, there's this element called greenwashing, where companies are reporting bad data on their so-called impact or environmental, social, or governance data that isn't necessarily accurate or correct, and so they're greenwashing their portfolio, saying it's really good, when actually, if you dig beneath the numbers, it might not necessarily be the case. By using a technology that's immutable, transparent, and provides that clear provenance, what our thesis is that this is a unique contribution to the market of impact investing, whereby you can utilize that technology and you've got immediate line of sight on the origin and the provenance of the data that you're using to report. Now, earlier I talked about the weaknesses in that model. There are weaknesses. It doesn't fully remove them, but it does go a long way to be able to address them and provide that transparency. The real winner for here is on our dashboard. You can see at the moment, with our first real proof of concept project that we've invested into, we now get daily data directly from the motorbikes, that the e-mobility solutions that we've invested into, that show how far those motorbikes have traveled in a day, and as a result of that, how much carbon emissions have been reduced out of the atmosphere because they're using transition technology. And that's on a daily basis, updated directly from the motorbikes to our API calls and then straight onto the blockchain. That's no small thing, because for many businesses in the impact space, at the end of the year, you've done a full year's worth of programming and investment and reporting. You pull that all together and you make your annual statement. So within 6 months, you're starting to then publish what happened last year after the year in question is finished. And that can, that's providing data that's 15, in some cases 15, 12, 9 months old, and there's a lot of things that can change in that period of time in terms of data collection and data management. And that's not to say that everyone's doing it. That's not the case. Not everyone is manipulating or changing data. What we're trying to do is real-time, on-chain, verified, auditable data sets with clear provenance and foundational values that we can say, okay, here's real-time data, here's the real-time impact that your investment's making, and that is quite unique to the market at this point. And so that's really what this contribution is doing, and one of the most exciting things that Kula has produced, I think, to date, that allows us internally to use that against the projects that we invest into and aggregate to a set of standardized metrics that we've developed based on the very best in practice solutions from the market, and with the experience that we have on the team that have been working with metric creation, provenance data collection for years into this blockchain space. And so that's really what's a unique contribution, and I think something that can be drawn on by multiple businesses if they so choose to adopt and deploy. And of course, we're wanting to market that as a white labeled service outwardly and externally to different clients where they've got interest in wanting to actually draw on that type of product release. I can be the original data enterer at that point, that initial point, and I know, okay, well, if I put 50, which is the truth, I'm going to get this much money next year in my investment process, and if I put 100, I'll get double. So I'm going to put double. And we can never verify or check that beyond human engagement and interaction. So in my story, the fact I've been there on the ground, supporting and providing technical support to that particular project, meant that I was able to catch that bad data collection process, and so we corrected it. So it never removes the need for that initial oversight of human collected and/or human social data. So when a business is looking at number of people trained or staff retention, when it comes to microeconomic impact metrics, you've got to verify and know your projects as much as you would do if you're using traditional systems. Once the data's gone in and it moves down the provenance chain and data's reported on to various different actors and different stakeholders in that process flow, with blockchain technology, now there's an actual accurate stamp of when the data was collected, who collected the data, what was the number. So if it changes later, or it's manipulated or adapted later, this is where there's now there's divergence between the quality of what this product can offer compared to what the traditional products can offer. But furthermore, where we collect data from IoT devices or straight from our app, which is collecting objective data from technological solutions, so whether that's gas meters, electric meters, satellite feed data, various different objective-based kind of data collection instruments, we know at source that data is accurate because it's not like a human being that can lie and manipulate. It's just reporting what it is. Now, of course, yes, you've got to check that, because someone could still say change the meter or adapt the meter, but you know at least what those readings are and how they come and whether they've been adapted or not, because you can see that at source. So at that level of data collection, and this becomes all the more robust because at source it's got much more validity, verifiability, and objective verification processes, but also then through the provenance chain, that data can't be adapted or changed. So that's really where I think blockchain technology wins. And for me, having worked in monitoring evaluation for many, many years at the highest levels of that profession in the infrastructural development and international development and aid sectors, this is probably one of the most robust ways of collecting data that I've seen, because it provides that provenance and that real-time haptic feedback almost to what's going on. So it's a really strong solution. We've got our impact investing thesis is always our foundation, and we've got the governance protocol that sits around that journey, and that's really our core and our foundation. By providing real provenance around the data collection with the application that we have, we're now really in a strong position, because our impact investments are some of the most robust on the planet, in the sense that they're being reported in a way that's more transparent than many projects currently are on the planet. And that's really puts Kula in a very strong position of its own transparency in terms of the projects it's invested into. So really what we're doing is we're building institutional grade, compliant based, openly observable, and products that investors can participate with. And that's the different. That's, for me, that's one of the most unique selling points of what we've got. You see directly what's invested into and what's going on with that investment, what impact that investment's having,